morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We're coming to you live from Music Grove Studios. This is the Surround Sound Podcast, and I am your host, Mr. R. Hunter Jr., the truth and not a rumor. Thanks to everyone for rocking with us on the Surround Sound Podcast. Starting lineup on Facebook Live, and all the love that I got from Instagram. Hey, I appreciate you on there, too. Just make sure you search Surround Sound Podcast on Instagram.com. That's Instagram.com/Surround Sound Podcast. And then you can do the same for our Facebook fan page, Facebook.com/Surround Sound Podcast. And now you can get at us on iTunes. Just put in Surround Sound Podcast. But you got to put it all together. For some reason, if you do not put in Surround Sound Podcast with no spaces, it'll take you to some podcast about having surround sound in your house. And surround sound audio is not what you want. You want Surround Sound Podcast. Regardless, happy Labor Day. And what is good, Troy?
I don't know. I'm just recovering from a very busy weekend.
So did you labor on Labor Day?
Only if you would call that traveling back from a short little weekend vacation.
Okay, so what did you do?
I went to see family, a wedding on one side of the family, then hung out with the other side of the family, about an hour away. So it's a very busy weekend.
That's super cool. Dude. I am personally, I didn't do much. I just worked. However, I am extremely glad that baseball season is over for the Nashville Sounds. I am extremely glad. I mean, I've never worked as many. I've never worked baseball, for one. But then I really understood why they call it playing every day. Anyway, moving on. We'll have Mr. Jeff Him here in studio in the beginning of October, the first Tuesday in October. So it'll be good to have Mr. Jeff Him. We're going to talk about baseball and all that good stuff. But what you all came here for... That's right, it's Funky 4 plus one more time. First up, college football, baby. Woo! Each and every Labor Day brings in the opening weekend of the college football season. We're going to start off with Tennessee State. They played Thursday. I'm talking about, for the first time in a many moons, TSU started the season off without the John Merritt Classic, which became an annual Labor Day treat for many. Instead, they went down to shock the Georgia State Panthers in the opening of their home stadium, the old 1996 Olympic Stadium, and most recently, the Atlanta Braves Turner Field. The Tigers pulled the upset, 17-10, big baby. Big shouts out to Big Blue. Next week, things get back to usual, though. 28th Annual Southern Heritage Classic in Memphis, Tennessee, which will pit Jackson State versus Tennessee State. Speaking of Memphis, running back Darrell Henderson had a 14-yard average in the season opener as he rushed for 169 yards and 2 extremely long touchdowns. Additionally, kick returner Tony Pollard returned a kickoff 99 yards to lead Memphis to a 37-29 win over Louisiana Monroe in the season opener. Game 2 is versus Central Florida on Saturday. And big shouts out to everybody that purchased jewelry. Troy, it was a jewelry store that said if University of Memphis runs the opening kickoff back or the second half kickoff back, that they'll give free jewelry if you already bought it previous to the game. And that is dope. That is super nice. And whoever got that good free jewelry, hey, good job for you. Next up, the Vanderbilt Commodores. The Doors traveled down I-24 to take on my alma mater, the MTSU Blue Raiders. They proceeded to beat down MTSU early and often, only giving away a late TD to bring the game to an ending score of 28-6. That is Vanderbilt. I'm telling you right now, I think the stars have aligned, and that's not a pun on the lunar eclipse. However, I think Kyle Shermer, their running back, these stars have just aligned to where that Vanderbilt is going to definitely make some noise. They play Alabama the 4th week of the season here in Nashville. I'm going to just say this. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised, folks, if Vanderbilt has a big upset. Just don't be surprised. And I will run and storm the field if they do. Regardless, next up, speaking of MTSU, this was just the beginning of MT's killer season opener. The first 3 weeks of the season, they take on some very formidable foes. Next week, they got Syracuse, and after that, they got the Minnesota Golden Gophers. However, on the horizon for Vandy, they got Alabama A&M coming to the Ville in week 2. In addition to HBCU action, the biggest upset in NCAA history happened in the very city the underdog loves the most. Las Vegas, Nevada hosted 49-point favorite UNLV versus humongous underdog Howard University. You know what? Such an obscure game, Las Vegas sportsbooks were not even offering a money line on the game. But the Bison could be found at 600-1 long shots and even higher at some offshore books. Howard's win comes a day after the 10th anniversary of Appalachian State's upset of Michigan in Ann Arbor. No point spread was achieved or archived on the game between the Wolverines and the Mountaineers, who at the time played in Division I AA. Jeff Sherman, oddsmaker for the Westgate Superbook, formerly the Las Vegas Hilton, told ESPN that he recalls having Michigan favored by 31 to 33 points over Appalachian State. Also, the quarterback for Howard is Cam Newton's brother. So I guess that's just in his blood, man. Great quarterback skills up there in Washington, D.C. and Howard. Lastly, in the games of college football on the opening weekend, UTK. Big shouts out to University of Tennessee at Knoxville. They win in dramatic fashion, 42-41 in double overtime over the rambling wreck of Georgia Tech. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. I'll say this, guys. I won't be mad if I don't see another triple option team ever. For one, but definitely this fall. I don't have to see any more triple option football. It is boring. Oh my God, it's absolutely boring. However, that goes to show the discipline that you have to have in defending a triple option. I know Navy has triple option offense, so it's like this. If you can play sound fundamental football, then you're good. But you're going to have to play fundamental football the entire game, because when that quarterback pulls that ball and then he tries to go over the top and throw it, you're going to have problems right there. Now, as far as the game of the week goes, Alabama versus Florida State. The player of the game. Oh, my goodness. Running back Damian Harris. This brother gave a hellacious stiff arm to start the game. He ran for a touchdown. He blocked a punt, and he grinded out the team. He grinded out Florida State at the end of the game. He is my player of the week. Now, next week's game of the week is Ohio State versus Oklahoma. Number 2 versus number 7 is going to be a pivotal matchup. It is coming on ABC Saturday night. Now, big shouts out to pretty boy Floyd Money Mayweather. He literally beat up Conor McGregor. I'll just say this. The fight coming up on the 23rd, that's going to be a real fight. Canelo Saul Alvarez versus Triple G. Coming on HBO, that is going to be a fight that you do not want to miss. All right, next up, number 3, NFL news. Week 1, the Bears play ATL. And who is going to be starting quarterback? It's not going to be Mitchell Trubisky. It's going to be Mike Glennon, the veteran. We're going to see what those do. We're going to see how long he's going to be the quarterback. That's what I want to know. How long would Michael Glennon be the quarterback? Next up, ATL. The aforementioned Bears play Matt Ryan and the boys. And Matt Ryan is going on record right now and saying that they are not taking the Bears lightly. The Bears went 3-13 last year. We all know what happened to the Atlanta Falcons. They lost in the Super Bowl to the eventual favorite New England Patriots. So we're going to see will they be able to turn that heat on. Next up, Dallas. They play the Giants on Sunday Night Football. Still no official word on the status of Ezekiel Elliott. So for now, he is still suspended for the first 6 games or until week 7. For the hometown Tennessee Titans, they play the Oakland Raiders at high noon right here in Nissan Stadium. That is going to be one of the best games, I think, of week 1. As a matter of fact, it's going to pit 2 of the young guns, Mr. Derek Carr of the Oakland Raiders and Mr. Eminem, as I call him, the sweet guy himself, Mr. Marcus Mariota. And the one more comes from the political front. Most times it's solely from President Trump. The 50 Cent of politics, the bully, number 45. Now, As everyone knows, Hurricane Harvey displaced a lot of citizens of Houston and surrounding cities, surrounding suburbs and counties. And it's safe to say that Texas, is southern, and possibly would have Confederate, I won't say Confederate ties, but people that would fly the Confederate flag proudly. Well, what do you get when you mix trying to save people and the Confederate flag? Well, like to hear, here you go. So when a white man who managed only to save his clothes, his wife, and his Confederate flag needed to be rescued, a black MMA fighter looked past the dreaded symbol of racism and slavery and rescued them anyway. Derek Lewis was disturbed by the lack of available assistance to help people trapped in their homes. He decided to jump in his truck and join his neighbors in rescuing those in need and taking them to safety. Lewis told MMA Junkie about his encounter with the family. I picked up one guy and his family, his wife. He just kept apologizing to me because all he really had was his clothes and he wanted to take his Confederate flag. Lewis said he wanted to take that with him, and he just apologized and said, man, I'll sit in the back of your truck, man. I don't want to have my flag inside of your truck like this. I said, man, I'm not worried about that. That is an incredible story, and that's where I want America to get to, where we look past each other's differences and really look to the heart, soul, and character of each other. And it's crazy because that guy, he was going to keep his flag. But Derek Lewis still said, hey, I'm going to say you anyway, you're human. You're human. Big shouts out and many blessings to Derek Lewis. We'll be back with more on the Surround Sound Podcast. First up, my guy Jason the Hater. What's up, homie? Representing Memphis and Black Haven, the Zone.